3, 2, 1. That's just the way a basketball game could end. Deion Sanders once said, if you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good. Basketball and hip-hop has not only influenced many athletes around the world, but it has also influenced many people from different race, culture, ethnicities, backgrounds, you name it. Today I will be informing the class about basketball and hip-hop and how they have influenced each other. First I will talk about NBA fashion, then I will talk about the evolution of hip-hop, and finally I will talk about how these two worlds have influenced each other. So let's get into my first main point, which is NBA fashion. I'm going to take you guys through a little trip of NBA fashion that journalist Davina Sinton has provided through her article called NBA Fashion Trendsetters. Can you guys see? Okay. So in the 1970s, the man known for his style and blended it in with the disco era was Walt Frazier. He would wear pinstripe shirts and would also wear fur on the daily. In the 1980s, coaches and players stopped wearing suits off of racks and started wearing custom-made suits. The man most known for this was Coach Chuck Daly. The players and coaches viewed that his suits were custom-made and they had a different cut to it. In the 1990s, it was the Jordan era. Everything was literally about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan made bald look cool, and his shoes were a trend on and off the court then and now, as you can see. The style back then was bright, bold colors like this, and like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and they would use African-inspired prints. Now, the 2000s was the most famous era for NBA fashion because this is when the NBA dress code was announced by the commissioner. In this era, the players would wear super baggy clothes, super baggy shirts, shorts, jeans, socks, underwear, everything. And they would also wear a lot of jewelry. And they would wear cornrows, do-rags, and they brought tattoos to the game as well. As NBA styles continue to unfold, we have to ask ourselves, where is it coming from? So nowadays, the players follow the NBA dress code. So today they have to dress business casual, but they add their little mix to it. They add their own fashion styles. The players known for this is Russell Westbrook and Dwayne Wade. They try to be trendsetters, but some trends don't look so well, as you can see here. So now we have to ask ourselves, where is this coming from? Who is influencing these fashion trends? The answer, hip-hop. According to educator Takufu Zaburi and his show History Detectives, after setting out an examination to the inner city of New York in 2003, he found that hip-hop was created in the poorest areas of New York by African Americans and Latino teens. These teens usually were unemployed, but they found their job as disco jockeys. They would play music non-stop at block parties and just regular parties. They would usually bring their MCs, which were the people that would hype up the crowd and try to get them involved in the music by trying to make them dance. This era also created graffiti art and breakdancing. The first hip-hop hit was Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang. I don't know if any of you guys have heard it. It goes like, I said a hip-hop, the hippie. Yes. And then that song was created, it was intended to just have fun and just have a good time. Until Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five came up with a song called The Message, which was created to inform the people about social issues like poverty and racism. I don't know if you guys have heard that song, The Message. It came out in Happy Feet when he says, "Don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the edge." All right, the 1980s was, they created a new hip hop style called rap rock. It was mostly seen by the Beastie Boys and Run DMC. Eric B. and Rakim created sampling, which would use beats from old school music, and they would just sample it with other beats. In the 1990s, producers started using audio editing software and digital effects to come up with a new form of hip hop called jazz rap. It was mostly seen by groups like De La Soul and A Tribe Called Quest. The Fugees came up with their own style of hip hop using reggae and soul to create their own new style. Common and Mos Def created socially conscious hip hop, in which they would talk about political and social issues. Now, the styles most known for the 90s were hardcore hip hop from New York and gangster rap and G-funk from Los Angeles. Some known hardcore hip hop artists include the Wu-Tang Clan, Jay-Z, Nas, and Biggie Smalls. They would rap about gang life. Gangster rap was developed by Ice-T and NWA. Ice-T would sample funk rhythms and rapped about dangers of drugs and crime, and dropping out of school. NWA rapped about injustice and political violence. Alright, G-Funk was first heard in Dr. Dre's album, The Chronic, in which he rapped to funky bass lines and beats. So 21st century, we have a whole bunch of hip-hop artists that are all over the world. And the most known the most known way to advertise hip-hop now is mixtapes. So many NBA players have to say, let's see. So you know a little bit more about hip-hop and how it was created and how it was evolved. Now we'll be talking about how hip-hop has infused with the NBA. Drake on Thank Me Later's Thank Me Now says, I swear sports and music are so synonymous because they want to be them and we want to be, and they want to be us. A lot of NBA players started making the switch from basketball to hip-hop. Kobe was one of the main ones as he created his album called Visions, and he came out with a song called Thug Poet, and which featured Tyra Banks, and which makes no sense because Kobe is no thug or rapper or poet. He's a basketball player. Other players who tried making the switch is Allen Iverson and Shaquille O'Neal. Rappers also tried making the switch from rapping to basketball. 2 Chainz got a scholarship to Alabama. The Game got a scholarship but never attended college. Allen Iverson infused these two worlds together as he brought his own style to the game, which seemed a little thuggish and seemed more like a hip-hop artist. And this was banned when the dress code was infused because there was a brawl between NBA players and fans, and this created the dress code in which banned everything that had to do with hip-hop. Chris Ryan, editor of MTV Blog, said in an interview, that was huge because the players were dressing like the guys they grew up with, wearing street clothes, representing their culture, representing the streets, in which ties together the infusion of hip-hop. Hip-hop is now played around everywhere, in every arena where basketball is played. Hip-hop artists, they mention NBA teams in their songs and also mention players and own some teams in the NBA. Now you have been informed about how basketball has influenced hip-hop. I enhance your knowledge how NBA fashion and hip-hop have evolved and how these two worlds have came together. I will leave you guys with a quote by Drake that says, and that's around the time your idols became your rivals. You make friends with Mike, but gotta AI him for your survival. That's it. Thank you.